And unmute, yes. Sorry about that. Nowhere near as smooth as Chris is at doing all of those buttons, but it looks like we're live. It took a little bit. Thought I was going live and then realized I was just playing to no one. So, welcome everyone. It's the Dev Talk Show, and it's Friday. And right now it's just me. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, morning voice as well. Hey, welcome everyone. Hopefully we've got some things planned for this morning around looking at AI models. I think the title that came through is getting started with GitHub models. And that's because we haven't really talked about those. We talked about other AI capabilities, but I think that's something that we want to explore because it gives you an opportunity to kind of get started for free with some limitations, and start to get put some maybe you have some thoughts around AI, but don't want to, aren't ready yet to spin up things in Azure, what have you. This is a way to kind of get things started and test out some of your ideas before moving on to bigger and better things and building out your idea. So let's see. Come over here to the comments. Yeah, let's kind of see where this goes. So Chris might be joining me. Hopefully, if he does, great. I'd love to have him because it's always fun to chat some of these things through, especially some of the new things that we're walking through here. So what I'm going to do is spend a bit of time talking about GitHub models and going through some of the docs and just kind of setting things up. I don't have a specific application in mind or something planned, so we're kind of just running through some things here, seeing how the model environment works over in GitHub. So let me just do a quick check here in my headphones, make sure everything is coming through. If I do this, I can hear it and you can't. Let's try that. A little bit of a pause as I wait for audio to come around. Yep. Cool. So we're all good. Sorry, that's not the best streaming content, but when you do this solo, you don't have somebody else able to listen in while I talk and do the work and do the work essentially. So yeah. So this will be fun. I haven't done a solo show in quite a while, and love to hear your thoughts and comments and feedback on where we're going. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen. Nope, we're going to share a window. And let's go ahead and share that. Awesome. There we go. Not bad. All right. Let's see. So let me open up another tab here because what I want to do is find. Let's do GitHub models. This might be the one. No, hey. Yeah, this is from a blog post, right? So there's GitHub models available. I know there was another announcement recently that talked about making them freely available. Sorry for not having this one up and running, but dun, dun, dun. There we go. I think that's the one. No, that might not be it. All right, we'll see that as we go through it. There's certainly some restrictions and uh, some limitations on um, on getting it's almost like the terms of use, let's say. So let's see. So if you didn't know, there is the ability to access models through GitHub and being able to take advantage of, if you don't have an Azure subscription, for let's say, but you want to be able to access some of the models, you can use the GitHub Models environment to access things like Llama 3 or GPT, or even the Mistrals or the Phi models. These are different uh, frontier models, as they call them, or they're not all large language models. Some of them are small language, but the idea is there are a few of them that you can get access to through GitHub. And where I've been going to kind of get started is if you just do github.com/models, then that brings you to this landing area where it's really inside of the marketplace. So it's where all of the other GitHub components are. And inside of here, where you can get access to Copilot extensions or other apps or actions that you might bring into your repositories. Inside of here is the essentially being able to access the or the collection of models that are essentially available. You can filter through those as far as like who's providing them or what kind of capabilities they have, because not all models do the same thing. You might want to, if you think about kind of the core use case around chat and completion, right? There's a category for that where you could just select for those models, but you might want to be doing something that gives you what's called embeddings, which is taking text and kind of vectorizing that information so that you can use that as part of a larger pattern for grounding your models, for grounding your conversations with the models. So there's some filterings here. There's some different categories depending on what you're looking for. So like this one here, around RAG or retrieve, augment, and generate, which is a common pattern you have when you're talking to models. So basically a way of giving them, as I was mentioning, kind of grounding them around intelligence that you want them to be aware of, and then use that to generate a response. And then we can also leave those kind of where they are. So I'm going to go back to all on those. And I think what I want to do to get started is, because there's a section here that talks about learning more, and we can kind of go through some of the documents and content there. Bring this in a little bit. So this is basically the important thing here, and hopefully my Zoom is working. Yeah, great. Is that this first sentence here, where we think about, hey, this is so you can use the GitHub models to find and experiment. And important bit there, it's for free. So the idea is that you have some kind of an idea and you want to kind of get started. This is how you can kind of jump into that. I wonder how that played out, because that AI or that Zoom, it was more. Let me try that again. Try that inside of here. So for those who may or may not know, I am using DevBox as a way of. I don't have Power Toys on here. That's ridiculous. Well, that's crazy. So Power Toys gives you, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I think that's okay, gives you access to a number of features that, can enhance the Windows experience, right? And one of those I use, you can't see because you're only seeing a portion of my screen here, is fancy zones. So being able to divide up my desktop or my one monitor here into different zones. And I have a zone that is where my dev box is sitting, which is set to be 1920 by 1040, so that I can broadcast that and have that look kind of normal to you all. But what I'm going to do here is let's do a quick search. Power Toys. Winget being the way that I install pretty much everything on my machines. So Windows Package Manager. I'm going to do an install. Microsoft. Power Toys. Excuse me. I'm realizing 10 minutes into the show, this being a solo show, that it's on me to do all of the talking. And I spent yesterday up at the AI tour and spent 6 hours talking kind of loudly because of all the noise there to a bunch of great conversations with customers who were there at the AI tour, which was kind of this roadshow that has all of the different AI experiences and helping people be aware of what's possible with AI. So great conversations yesterday, but my voice is paying the price this morning. And maybe I should just write some code. So what I installed here was something called Power Toys. Power Toys, if we bring that up, essentially gives access to all of these features that you can that help make the Windows experience better. And I mentioned something that you can define a layout for. And then one of the reasons I'm bringing it up here is that recently added is this one down here at the bottom called Zoom It. Zoom It for me was always a separate application install, one of the first things I tried to install, but it now, over the last week or so, I think it was this week, got included in the Power Toys capabilities. So all of those same features you know and love with Zoom It, it's just basically bringing that executable inside of this this collection of services and things that make Windows run better, or your experience with Windows better. Okay, so now that Zoom It is here locally, let's try that again. Oh, I don't know that I started it. Open the settings. Let's see. Yep, we're going to enable it. Show it in the icon tray. That's fine. Okay. Another instance is already running. Oh, let's take care of that. Let's exit that one. Apparently I did have one up and running. It just enabled it from the wrong one. Let's do... There we go. We'll do that there. Save. So that makes that hotkey work. If I do Control-Shift-4, that is odd. Okay, I cancel that. I will play around with that later. Huh. Let's try that again. Let's close that because it seems to be stuck. There we go. All right, let's restart that Interesting. So there's Zoom It with the new flag on it. Let's go ahead and click that. It's off and running, which is good. If I do this, woo. All right, I've got all my features here. So now it's zooming it inside of that window essentially. Cool. Let's one more time. Let's see if I do this. I think the problem I'm running into here is that because this window is not magnified, it's not full screen. My host machine is getting all that, getting all the requests for Zoom. So let me do this, and it's kind of intercepting what's happening. So if I no. Just turn that off for right now. So now if I do this, interesting. All right, we're gonna something I'll have to play around with a little more, but it's here. I would recommend. I know there were some previous issues with memory leaks around the Power Toys. From what I've been able to see from a lot of the pull requests and the issues, it looks like those, at least the ones that they were there, were resolved. So I have not seen that be a concern in my use with it. So so we'll leave that there. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to where we were and start prototyping. So we've got about 40 minutes left. We can plan to just kind of test this out, see how things are, and see what we can build. Let's see. So we're in basically finding an AI model. So basically where we were in the marketplace. Let's get the model, select the model via the top left page. We can choose our model from the drop down there. So all of those that we were looking at in the area are certainly available to us. One of the things to I think to note, if we go back and look at marketplace, is that this model here, this DeepSeek R1, was a recent addition. It actually came live yesterday, both in the GitHub models and in Azure AI, OpenAI models. So it's a chance for you to try that new RL learning model that we've been hearing a lot about. Gosh, it's been a busy week of information around that kind of a capability. So if we click into it, we should get to information here, about what's this model, what are the context, and context being how many tokens I can have as an input to the model, and how many tokens I maximally can get out. Tokens are kind of the commodity when we talk to frontier models, and it is essentially, how much information can I provide to the model to give it context around, and including the question I'm trying to ask. And then based on that, it will give a response. And then the 4K output is, well, how large of a response can I get back? So those are, you'll see that with all of these, and it's usually those are the things that you'll be interested to look at, because some models are going to have less different values when it comes to input, as well as different values for how much content you'll expect to get back out. So if your question is very is what you're expecting from a response is very short, then you can you can maybe get with a model that has less output value there. Okay, so looking at this section is one of the first things to kind of do and say, okay, help me understand what this is, what this model's capabilities are. In addition, here here's the tag. So in addition to not only having a description of what this model does, there's information here around the tags themselves and how this model might be helpful. So obviously helpful for coding, helpful for creating agents and chat completion, but also this reasoning one, and being able to take what's being asked and kind of churn on it a little bit and be able to provide a plan for how it might make its response. And we'll see that as we go through it. If I hit the reasoning one, it brings us back to the models focused on the category of reasoning. So these are all of the models that essentially have that reasoning capability inside of here. And I'm just going to go forward a little bit, right? So if you think about it, we've all heard of, the GPT-4o model. We don't see that in the list here. That model is great for summarization, categorization, and kind of creativity, but it doesn't do so well when it comes to reasoning. And that's why other models that OpenAI created, like the O1 models, are better at reasoning, and that's why they're showing up in the list here, but something like GPT doesn't. So these are some of the things to consider when you're picking a model and trying to understand, well, what's the right model I should be using? Let's see. Okay, kind of press back here. So what's great about the marketplace and the model playground is that there's actually the ability to start experimenting with these AI models that are here. So we're going to kind of go through this set of capabilities and see what we can, just start to build some things out. So let's do that. I'm going to go back to the marketplace. And I would love to hear questions, thoughts as people start to go through this. It's just me this morning. Oh, I say that, and look who shows up.
I just popped in.
Welcome. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good. I see you found the video background that I popped in there.
It actually so when I
did it?
It
preloaded it?
Preloaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing with a lot of the new StreamYard stuff. But anyways, yeah, I was getting ready to get in here, and I didn't get to hear what you were saying. So it's interesting because I saw I think an article about DeepSeek and said, okay, let me see. I got to get the speakers plugged in so I can hear what's going on.
There you go. Yeah, it's a bit. Oh, sorry about that. It's fun driving by yourself. I will tell you that. Let's see. You have very much different thoughts when you're thinking, "Oh, I'll just do this, this, and this," and now that you're on your own, it's a little challenging. So the DeepSeek models yesterday, there was an announcement that we made them available in not only Azure, OpenAI, and AI Foundry, but also in GitHub models. And the cool thing about GitHub models, because you may have missed this part, is that the models, using them in GitHub models, they're essentially there's a freemium version that's there. I guess free is probably the right way to put it, but there's some restrictions around it. There's limits, and we'll go through some of those. But it essentially gives you ability, if you're just developing something and you want to test something out, it gives you enough parameters to kind of get started and start to test if you've got an idea that you want to continue on with, or even just for students who want to get experience around talking to models and being able to use them in their applications. This is a perfect way to get going. There are other free ways too, by downloading things through Olama and containers, but this you'll see gives us a good development experience too. So
yeah, I can't wait to see it. So
awesome. Yes. Let me bring you back on the screen here so I can see you as well. Where is, hang on, that one. All right, cool. Excellent. Okay. And I don't know if you heard, I was up at the AI tour yesterday, so I spent some time there let's just try this one out. I spent some time there talking to people, about 6 hours. I was on the floor at a booth, and my voice is a little rough this morning. So feel free to interrupt as it makes sense. So here, this, we just picked a model. We picked the Deep 6 one so we can kind of maybe see what things are like. What's great here is there is an area here called Playground, where we can actually click this, and it's going to want me to sign in, which is fine. And of course the Authenticator app, okay. Ask me later. Cool. Okay, we might have some performance issues around this, but okay. But essentially, what we have here is we're in the, much like if you're using Azure, there's a playground area there. This gives us that same thing. So I can type in some kind of a question. Let's say, how would I begin we'll see how much it knows here. I haven't tested this out. It's one of those I'm just kind of throwing in, but see what it's doing from the process, right? So it's kind of repeating back to me what it is it's asking, what it was I asked, and it's starting to go through some of the, I guess, the steps that it might do to do that. So it's interesting, right? So this part here, hey, GitHub is code space repositories, and then, well, wait, it also has something called models. So it's kind of iterating through the possible response, right? So it is taking some time going through and doing this. We do have a limit on the number of tokens here, that the maximum tokens that are going to get outputted is 2048, and it might have just hit that. No, still thinking. And it's interesting. It's almost doing like a. We haven't talked about agents yet, and that's something that I do want to get into. But there's a concept in agents where AI agents where one AI agent creates some content, and there's a checker agent. It's a creator checker pattern, I think is what they call it. So the checker looks at what was created and says, is that good, or should it go back and create, modify what it created in some way? So it's almost doing that within this model itself by doing things like, wait, the question mentioned this, and making sure that the reasoning through its answer almost.
Yeah. So I was actually, just before you said that, I was reading that and thinking the same thing. And I feel like in the very limited reading that I've done on DeepSeek, I mean, we're talking about something that hit the news this week, right?
Friday, Saturday of, maybe a week last.
So I've done
within the week.
And that was one of the things I feel like I got out of it, was that I don't even know how to say it. You might have, and I'm sorry if you covered this while I was still getting speakers working.
That's
was
okay.
That the model seems to, instead of where when you use generative AI that might be integrated into like a chat GPT that just answers the question, you can almost feel it working it out.
Yeah, working the problem.
I found that really interesting in that it sort of went along with some of the reporting on this. And I know this is really hard stuff to report on when,
right.
you're a journalist and you're trying to cut to the chase in 2 sentences for any viewer, not necessarily a developer.
Right.
And they'll say things like, well, DeepSeek has this advantage where it learns from its own generation, or its own generated content or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
maybe we're sort of seeing that it's learning from it's learning more about the question being asked by kind of maybe saying, well, here's a broad way to look at it, and then, okay, well, now that helps me drill down into what you might have been asking.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because when you think about the GPT models that we've kind of been doing, and many of the other frontier models as well, the way they work is it's it's the best next word, right? It's just basically trying to generate things that way. So it's running through and it's generating that, but it's generating that kind of in a straight stream. And that's how we can get like streamed responses back from a chat window or what have you. So it doesn't necessarily have, at least not the GPT-4 models, right, have that ability to kind of look at the history of what it said and incorporate that into some kind of, reflection and refinement of what it's doing. You need almost that other LLM or that other agent to be able to look at those and look at it post processing, if you will. But this is so. It's quite a lot back. I'm kind of surprised that it has that much in its, or it just goes to show you how many tokens, 2,000 tokens is, which is quite a lot. So, so identifying the model, setting up the environment, right? So in this case, pulling down. So it's trying to, I mean, it's giving some pretty detailed information here around how, from a high level, how you certainly might do it. I think we're going to a slightly different path because the tutorial kind of walks through something a little bit different. But I think the idea is, we've asked it a pretty complex question, and we could, for comparison, can I do this? Oh, you can do them side by side. That's interesting. Okay. So I'll be honest. This is the first time with me playing with this interface. So
Yeah, so you're in models,
yeah,
and
this
you
is all over
chose
in
this
GitHub.
model.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chose this
I'm
one.
trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if people wanted to follow along, maybe if they're watching in the future. I'm just checking to see where do we go here?
So if you just go to github.com/models, that's where I got started. I mean, it resolves to marketplace/models, but you get the
Yeah.
idea.
All right. And then you picked the DeepSeek R1 model, and that's where on that page itself.
Yeah, so on that same page, I said compare, and I said, well, what do you want to compare this with? And then it popped up another window inside of here with GPT-4o as a comparison. Let's do something simple. Do you... let's just say something like that. Need a recipe for baking bread. So in this case, either from its grounded knowledge or from, some other capability, because I didn't really tell it where to go looking for where to bake bread, it was able to come back and give me essentially, the rough, or not the rough, but a good guideline for how to assemble all the ingredients and the process for breaking and even cooling the bread right when it's done, and tips for making sure that I get that buttery top on there. And then this is really digging in a little deeper around around all the variables you might need to include, not only from the temperature of the oven, but also the kneading process and things like that. So I asked it once. So the point of this is comparing them. You can see the depth of processing. And I don't want to say thinking, but the depth of the processing that's happening with the R1 model versus kind of being able to get a quick response there. Now, this is just a playground area to kind of get up and started. And I can certainly ask it some questions in chat here. I could look at the code. That would essentially, looks like, right. So this is the code I would need to have. And there's JavaScript. Let's see, there's C#. So if I wanted to, I'm not asking the question that I just asked, because it is throwing another question in there. But this would be the code that I could bring into, if I wanted to spin up a Power App, or not Power App, a console app really quickly. I could do that, bring this code in, and be off and running.
Now, just for completeness,
yeah, please.
Somebody still new to this stuff. This is not, in the past, we've looked at semantic kernel. This is not that.
Nope. No, and it could be, right? This code in here, you could certainly do. That's a good question.
I guess that was going to be my next question, is that semantic kernel is more about kind of like an abstract dependency injection model of sorts of, here, let me tell you what it is I want you to do, but then I don't have to change the code that calls it. So you could, that could be built. It's just, this is the very lowest level way. Yeah. Azure Key Credential, chat completions client, use this model that's already available, go.
Yeah, so we've got time. Let's do that real quick, right? Let's do this. Give me this. Let's do a .NET. No?
And this is using,
I think this will be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think this will be interesting.
This is using Azure to run the model. Yeah, the compute is on Azure.
The compute is on. Yes, it is on Azure. Okay. But I don't necessarily have an Azure account tied to my GitHub account. So there's no, at least for this, although so that kind of makes sense, right? GitHub is a Microsoft, is part of Microsoft. So it makes sense to run on the infrastructure where we're already running these models. It's just that we're doing it in a space where I don't have to tie it to a subscription and instantiate an OpenAI service. I can just basically, here's the endpoint. It's already up and running for me.
Right. So that's a key differentiator. Is a lot of the work we've done in the past, we have deployed a model, so it's running on some compute in Azure, even though that's taken care of for us in the OpenAI service.
Mm-hmm.
There's some silicon somewhere that's running that model for us. But this case is like, well, it's similar to when you use like, say, even GitHub Actions, and you're just playing and testing it out, and you're using all the free features. It's running on their machine, and they're taking care of it, and you don't even think about it. So I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. Is we're saying, okay, I'm going to give you this chat request, user message. Go for it.
Go do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's see if we can make this work in a console app.
Yeah.
No, I probably need the NuGet packages for those.
Right. Let me see.
Which is,
I wondered if I could find those.
It's the AI inferencing SDK. Yeah, you have your dog in the background. My cat, I don't know if you can hear my cat screaming at me in the background.
Oops. Cats know, man. They understand.
All right. Did you see?
I'm actually trying to
AI
get
pack?
to. Yeah, I'm trying to get to that now so I can try and figure this out. So Azure AI Inference SDK, what is that? And you're trying to find that too. So that's good.
It's not inferencing, it's inference. And there is a semantic kernel. If we
Yeah,
were going that
that's what
route.
I was thinking.
Yeah. OpenAI bot builder prompts. No.
Now you can install the azure.ai.inference from NuGet. So I'm guessing it looks like it's
That's
.NET add package azure.ai.inference. Is that maybe that gets you
yeah,
going?
that would be good. Yep.
Okay.
So let's do
And I
that.
mean,
Let's go
I
back over
agree.
here.
I think the next level of this, right?
Uh-huh.
The next level of this, I think, is semantic kernel. And again, I jumped ahead. I jumped ahead to but I just feel like for someone like me, who I admit to everybody in the audience, I'm fascinated by this, but not getting the day-to-day practice to really dig in. That to me, this is the base layer. This is the lowest level way that we can access this quickly is just a little bit of code using this Azure AI Inference SDK. The next level to me is like, okay, maybe I would use semantic kernel. So really appreciate Eric jumping in here, and don't mind me if I'm chatting with myself. I feel like I got to your comment pretty quick, but you're not wrong that sometimes I've got the comments up on a monitor, but then a window gets over it, and then it's like, then I said, do I need another monitor? Is that what I need? But thanks for joining us this morning. So yeah, I'm excited to see this work.
Yeah, me too. Did I have that wrong? I had Azure AI.inference.
Azure.ai.inference. And what did you put in?
And let me get rid of this.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Azure.ai.inference, according to this. Technically a pre-release package, I guess.
Yeah. Go away. All right. Oh, it's pre-release?
Yeah.
So is there a version? Or does it just say...
Now, for pre-release, do you have to supply that?
Tell it.
Is that what it was complaining about? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. It might be easier to drop this here, and then what I am going to do is get the NuGet package into the YouTube as well. Inference NuGet into the YouTube notes. So if you're watching now or in the future, and you're like, hey, what are you talking about? That is getting added to the show notes. Sometimes when I click save, it doesn't appear right away if you're watching us live. But so that NuGet package is in there, and Rich is adding that with a .NET add package command, and it's version 1.0.0-beta.2, just as you're watching him type along, or maybe he just copied it and I missed it. But
I did. I copied it in there. So yep, we're good. So
really cool. Check this out. Eric says, this is a bit meta, but if you prompt GPT-4o, how do I install the AI Azure Inference SDK, you get some decent answers. Not the first time you've done something like that, where I think it's almost an instinct for you to just reach for like GitHub Copilot or AI to answer your questions. And I admit that I have not developed that muscle memory yet. You know, we talk about keyboard shortcuts. And I'm constantly amazed at the keyboard shortcut that I don't use after, I don't know, 25 years of Visual Studio. And I still discover something today, go, man, I got to add that to my muscle memory. I am not quite yet doing that with just ask the question to Copilot.
Yeah, definitely. And that's That's the beauty of it. Once you get into that mode of, well, it's right here, it's still in the IDE, I never have to leave
Right.
for the most part. I mean, documentation aside. I don't necessarily know that I like that response. So why is this here?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if, like when I'm looking at the code, you do create a new chat completions client options object, but you just didn't do any, like in their sample code, they just don't do anything with it.
Oh, right. But it's still, yeah, they don't do anything with it, but I still should, there should be something where that that value comes from.
Well, so here's one thing. Let's see. There's a couple things missing here. One of them is that in their example, I don't feel like they do anything with that. They just say, here's a new object. They do pull a GitHub token out of environment, though.
Yes, I still have to do that.
Right.
So I'm going to try one thing that got suggested. So let's do add. Yeah, let's just heck with it. Let's use Copilot the way it should be used. Boom.
Oh, I see what
No,
you're saying.
wrong.
Is that so? You added the one reference and perhaps
The actual
Perhaps
reference
that-
to OpenAI.
yeah.
Although to be fair, those usings were not in.
Right. So, you know what's funny is the comments itself say to do .NET add package Azure AI inference dash dash pre-release. So, didn't even read the comment there.
Oh, where was it? Oh, in the
See, in the comment right
documentation?
above on line 4, right in your code, they told us
Oh,
how to add the package, and yet we went off hunting.
there
So
you go. So that makes it generic. So whatever version is out there latest, it just
yeah,
includes the
so that
pre-release.
shows us how
Nice.
effective comments are. Yeah, I'm not seeing any reason why that shouldn't work other than
Yeah. Azure AI inference client options.
chat completions client options, which is fine.
There you go. It was
Oh.
asking for the wrong thing.
Okay.
It looks like it's the wrong class would be my thought.
Okay. Fair enough. And you still don't need that Azure AI OpenAI, it looks like, just because it's a little gray, that slightly grayed out thing.
Yep. So we can get rid of that. And then this, why is it?
So I'm going to click the give feedback
possible
button
Okay.
in GitHub
Yeah.
because I wonder, has this been reported? Or
I mean, this is, I mean, at least for,
Well, let's see what happens. If this works, then I would
Yeah.
go back and say, I think you got a bug on line 16.
so I need to get this PAT token
Right.
to be able to make this work. So if I go back over to GitHub and I go to, and I always forget where these things are. I believe it is down in settings. Personal
Settings
access
and
token.
developer settings. Oh,
Yep.
you've already found it.
Yep. So, and then free fine grained tokens, which is what I already created one, apparently. I don't remember what it is or where I might have stored it. It was probably demoing that same bit of functionality. So let's just generate a new one. Token name, this is TDTS.
Does it display this token or are we going to?
Eventually it will.
Okay.
But what I want to do is just go through the process, right? And
Yeah.
say, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
What am I asking? And if you go back to the documentation, and I don't think we had, if I go to here and here, right? This one says, I'm not far enough over. I want to make sure it's the right one. Community account with the secret personal access tokens. I think it might be in the models discussion when it asks. Somewhere in the documentation it says just don't set anything. Just basically take the defaults as they are and get that value. That's all it needs. So even though when we look at GitHub and we say, well, I've got, the public repositories, the all the repo and all the different permissions that I could set, don't worry about it. Don't do anything. Just generate the token. So now if you want to hide my screen, cool.
Done.
I will generate the token. I will copy that token. And then while my screen is hidden, I'm also going to do a environment variable is what it wants it to be. Let's see. Command for in Windows, you can use the setx command. So let's see.
Oh, just to quickly add to environment? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you know
You
that?
should be able to... Yeah. Sorry.
I should have. I should have asked Chris.
That's the old DOS user in me.
Okay.
And then what you could do to
Yeah.
make sure it's... If you just type set, I think you just see all the environment. And then you could just prove to yourself that...
Yeah, set variable command line position 1 names. Oh, no, set wants to actually set something.
Okay, so if you're at command prompt and not at PowerShell, then just typing the word set it just vomits up the environment, right? But if you say set and then put like the name of the variable like ZZZ or something, which you don't want it to be. I think you want it to be GitHub _token, right?
Yes.
And then you type in that value. So you say like set GitHub _token equals, put the value after that, and that'll add it to your environment. I would.
Okay.
You can't exactly show us, right? That's the thing.
I can't. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've already done it and I've cleared out the screen, so we can probably go back.
If you just want to prove that it's there to yourself, then just type set, hit enter, and you'll see it in the list.
But that's what I'm saying. When I do that in PowerShell.
Oh, so PowerShell's not command prompt. I don't have it memorized how to quickly use environment in PowerShell. I know that there's a way. And in fact, I often tell myself I should learn the PowerShell way. The problem is that I've got even more years of DOS history that I just very quickly just say, you know what, here's where I'm just going to switch back to command prompt. Boom, done. I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So one last thing before you show my screen, there is a apparently, and I don't know. I was talking about Power Toys when we got started.
Yeah, right.
And
there's probably a Power Toy.
There's an advanced, under the advanced, there's a Power Toy for environment variables.
Yeah. Another thing I always forget about.
Yep. And I saw it in there because I was looking for where they put the new Zoom it that they included in it this week. And I was going through and saying, oh, there's environment variables. So I did the environment variables. It shows up. It's there. I think we're good. And here we go. So let's do this. Make sure there's nothing else here. Let's save it. Why are you choices? It doesn't like choices. Interesting. So response.value.choices message content. So what is?
All right, are we back on your screen or no?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Sorry.
Me. That's okay. That's not your fault.
Yeah, I'm not sure where choices came from, but I'm just going to say content and see where it goes. I'm also going to drop this down to, is that 10? Yeah, 1024. Okay, let's try it. Run.
It's possible that some of my old habits don't work as well anymore because, and the reason why is because we don't necessarily live in one command prompt anymore or one terminal anymore, especially with Windows Terminal,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the terminal built into Visual Studio Code. So it's entirely possible that some of my old tricks might set it in that prompt, but then when I go back to Visual Studio Code's terminal is going to be like, what do you, I'm a different terminal.
Right.
So that could be.
It doesn't like this. Value can't be null. Well, it shouldn't be. It's not null. Oh. Is there a difference between system
It could be, yeah.
and a
It could
user?
be. Depends on where you put it.
I don't know.
So maybe use that power toy to paste it in. I'm not sure if that would be better.
Use that power toy to paste it in.
I don't know if you have power toys installed,
Oh, yeah.
but you're not going to want this visible. So
There you go. That's where I was going next.
yeah.
Back over here. Go to Power Toys. And while we're doing this, if you guys have questions or other comments as we kind of wrap this up at top of the hour, because I do have a meeting. I pushed it back 5 minutes, but that should be fine.
The one thing I'm curious about is I saw a blog post, and I've got to find where it is. I think it's on the Windows blog. Yes, that talks about running. This is what it says: running distilled DeepSeek R1 models locally, and then it says on Copilot Plus PCs powered by Windows Copilot Runtime. But I'm not 100% sure if I can't just run it on my machine. I don't know. I find that interesting, though, that here is some discussion published just a couple days ago on running some stuff locally using a VS Code extension. So that might be interesting.
So it's making the comment that it has to be a Copilot Plus PC.
Uh-huh.
And the Copilot Plus PCs have, I
NPUs,
believe,
right?
they have the NPU chip, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're also, are they also Snapdragons? Like the ARM chips as well?
I don't know that they all have to be, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, same. I know I want one, and I haven't been able to get access to one. But oh, why? No, it still doesn't like this. Why?
Like when I look at the Surface Pro website, I don't believe they are all Snapdragons.
Okay. Well, yeah, the just the Copilot Plus PC is the one that we need to look at.
You could be right here. Snapdragon X Plus, Snapdragon X Elite. Maybe they are. I am still understanding this world. I think it's exciting because I think we all sort of know that ARM is coming our way. It's just been coming our way for a very long time, and so you wonder, is this it now? Is it soon?
Right. 1 second. I'm going to try one last thing because I think I have an idea.
Okay.
It's not a great idea. Kids don't do this at home. But let's stop this, save this.
Are you just going to paste the token into the code?
Shh.
and then we'll move it off screen or something?
Yeah,
I mean, you can delete the token too, but
I could. Why doesn't the... I should be... why can't I create a region? Because then I could just collapse the region.
I mean, I don't want to bring up your screen.
No.
But you can't do pound region. It doesn't, and then the name of the region. It doesn't do it.
I did, but it doesn't give me the little...
Now, have you done the end? Have you done the end region yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Hang on, let me do this. Do that. Back to here. Yeah, there was something squirrely in the UI. I wound up shutting down code and reopening it, and it's fine now. Okay, so... What? (903). Sorry, folks.
Yeah, I don't want to switch, and it's too small of a screen for me to see what you're doing. The little preview window, because gotcha. I don't want to cut back.
Yep.
If the token's on screen.
It's not on screen. Go ahead.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, and you're going to get rid of credential and use your... Oh, no, I see.
Well, that...
You need to use that variable, right? Whatever you called it. And it's hiding in the region there. Right? And this is not how you'll do things.
Exactly. All right. Save, build.
Still complaining, though, about credentials.
It is. Which is
so
crazy.
That completions client takes what exactly? Does it not take an Azure key credential? Like,
it does. So if I do this, the URI endpoint and a credential. And the key credential is just a string. And that's my token.
But that's squirrely too, right? It doesn't like it.
Yeah. Just gonna... I don't know. Creates a new instance key vault, which is never... What do you mean it's never used? It's right here.
Hold on. It's saying something else, though. I can't tell. Creates a new instance of Azure key credential, which is never used. Pass the instance as an argument to another method. Assign the instance to a variable. Huh. Is it because you can't new it? I can't tell.
We can try that.
It's not a static method, is it? It's just weird though, because the code...
Because it was fine earlier.
Oh, when it was being pulled from environment? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, maybe because I varred it.
GitHub tokens var, not whatever the other type was. So you have to say new, yeah. No. Okay. So first of all, let's just build it, because I want to... Let's see for sure what the issue is here. There might be something wrong in the region that's killing us. Because see how that var keyword is not highlighted? And see how it's telling you syntax error? Something. So I need to get
swap
back.
from me. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm off.
Okay.
So I think what was really happening is the region has a syntax error. It's not evident because it's in a region. The var
Yeah.
keyword wasn't being picked up because it's like, hold on. Because all you're trying to do in that region is have us just a string of your GitHub token instead of pulling
Yeah.
it from environment.
Bleeping me. I forgot the semi.
All right, and that's it.
That's it.
Let me know when we're good.
We're good.
Okay. All right. And so then the var's lit up.
Yep.
Everything looks good. It's
Everybody's
9:06. I know you got to get going.
Yeah, I already pinged my friend and said,
And after
hey.
all that, it wrote out "Hello World," and then
Which is how it starts.
Okay. Now after line 36. Okay. I see. So we are
now,
waiting on a response, we think.
yes.
All right. Now, according to line 39, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of here, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I could do this too. Because I got a feeling once it ends, it's just going to close down. It'll run right through it.
Do we know where we're at right now?
We don't, because we didn't have that. Yeah, line 39.
So we think that we might have executed 38 and that we're waiting.
Yeah, and if you remember, it's pretty chatty, so it could take a while before it gets its completed response.
Okay. I hear you. So right now, when we were waiting before, it just kept on like adding and adding and adding. Okay.
Yeah, and we're not streaming here. We're just basically...
Right.
Yeah. But there's definitely some... well, we think that's a change.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm banging my head against the wall anyway. I just go right to that.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer you have, but
I've already pinged and said I need a couple minutes, but I'm kind of at that couple minutes.
Okay.
Can I drop and just leave you?
Well, I'm getting close to my.
Oh, you're getting close to that.
So
yeah.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah. Apologize, Eric, for hanging. This. We're not going to see the end here on this. I will.
We think that code works, but we made a change, and that'll be interesting to see if maybe there's some change that has to happen on GitHub's site.
Yep.
But other than that,
yeah,
it was neat
that's not
to
bad.
see how DeepSeek reasons things out. It feels like that way, anyways. Like it takes its generated response. Perhaps, I mean, is this what you think? It's. I mean, if you don't know, I don't want to confuse anybody that's watching. It's like it takes a small generated response and then says, "Well, let me somehow iterate on that."
Yes.
I'm not saying that it makes it a new prompt.
Yeah.
It's just that it says, well, what can I learn from that response to answer the question more fully? And that is definitely interesting compared to my experience with ChatGPT, which is just, here's an answer.
Yeah. And we saw when we did side by side how quickly it put that answer out, because it's based on mostly the information it's aware of for the most part. But yeah, can I ask you to close out the show? And yeah. I'm going to drop off.
All right. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks, everyone. I'll let Chris do the thing. Bye.
Yep. So we were fortunate to, Rich was fortunate to be able to get the show started this morning. I am definitely trying to work on getting some more time in the mornings, or it might even be in the evenings. But want to have a strong 2025. I know we definitely built on the top of Blazor and Blazor authentication last year. Looking at some AI and some other things too. And if you ever have any suggestions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Right on this, if you're watching on YouTube, right on this video, we get some great comments. I definitely added it to a backlog, and we'll see how we can go. So want to thank everybody who joined us today, and great to hear from Eric Taylor in chat. We really appreciate that. Other than that, hopefully you have a great day here on the US East Coast. It's about time for morning stand-up, and hopefully for you, if whether you're getting your day started or even ending yours, have a great Friday, and we'll see you all next time on the Dev Talk Show.